The Layla Show.
Welcome to the Layla Show, a podcast where the power of conversation knows no bounds, with your host, Layla Ziari. And this week we have our guest, Veronika Amaya, and she has been helping men and women build lasting relationships filled with respect, understanding, and love as a coach and conscious relationship teacher since 2019, helping thousands of people overcome their dating anxieties, resolve toxic relationship patterns, and keep attraction alive through healthy polarity, which is awesome because we need that in our society. So welcome.
Aww, I'm so glad to be here, Layla.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you. I've been watching your Instagram lately, and I'm like, yes, everything you have, everything you talk about is so on point, and I just feel like it's so relevant for today, and especially I see you talk a lot about masculine and feminine roles, and it's just very important because I feel like that's coming up in a lot of our personal lives and relationships, and there's a lot of revelations with everyone I talk to kind of going on with that. So yeah, tell us more about what you do and how you got into this and all that.
Yeah, what you were saying, I feel the same way. I think I really started with trauma work. My whole sort of awakening was about 7 years ago when I realized, oh my gosh, my childhood was messed up. And, I come from a sort of a super normal, very normal German middle class background. Nothing major has happened, but I just always felt so off. And that was the first time when I realized, oh, actually, so many of my emotional needs were not met. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of conflict in my childhood household, and I realized really the scope of how traumatized our society is, and that's why people are so messed up. I mean, for me, it's now astonishing because everyone is depressed, everyone has so many issues, and then people are like, oh, but my childhood was awesome. I'm like, no.
No, it wasn't though.
No, exactly. It's a systemic issue, and it's not that our parents were horrible. I mean, they really did the best they could, but the way our society is set up is not working at all. And that it goes into so many areas of our life, it's the way we parent, the way we have relationships, that there's so much crappy information out there right now. And of course, so much, there's a lot of people, I think, that want to influence us, not in a healthy direction, because of course, if you are sick, you are controllable, and you are also, you're a consumer basically. So yeah, I had a big awakening, and then I went to trauma work, and that really led me into understanding myself in my childhood. But then the last years, what I've really been doing is all this deep dive into relationships, because although I was awakening, I was doing trauma work, my relationship with my boyfriend still was not great. And so I was like, okay, I did all this healing, but what is happening? And then I realized that I was having all these unconscious patterns that were from my childhood, but were also really influenced from culture. For example, I realized that I've been very controlling towards my boyfriend, and that is a shadow feminine behavior right now, and that I was not allowing him actually to be in his strong masculine. So I was always complaining, he's not stepping up, he's so weak. This typical.
So you're not allowing it at all. You're like, I'm boss.
And I was also so unaware because I was kind of a struggling coach to start my practice. And he was such a boss, managing a team and all that. And it was just that he was kind of a bit more gentle and laid back. Yeah. But basically it was so cool because through realizing this, I have turned our relationship around. We're now 7 years together. We are married.
Oh.
I think we have the most harmonious relationship of everyone I know. And he just feels so good and I feel so good, so I think my stuff works.
Definitely. And I think that's amazing just because I don't know, I've been on this journey a long time and I've still to this day not been in a healthy relationship. I've just been single, doing my own thing for a long time. But I think, seeing people be able to do that and integrate all the practices of what we know within ourselves and actually create a healthy, balanced relationship is the most inspiring thing in the planet, because I'm all for it and I'm here for it and can't wait till that happens for me and everybody else. But yeah, I mean, I also really we're affected by our childhood, and I think it's important that you said my childhood wasn't inherently bad, because I had this conversation the other day. Someone literally looked at me and they're like, you have no right to say that you've ever been through anything hard because like, and this is obviously just like not an awakened person like trauma dumping on me, but still it was like, whoa. And they're like, because like your family was like somewhat normal. And I'm like, just because like, and so like you said, like just because your family is normal doesn't mean that they're practicing like balanced communication or like showing you what true love is or showing you how to react in the world, because like you said, we're just a product of our environment, and like half the time it's not our fault. But I look at like my familial line, like my mother, like my grandmother was abused by her husband, and there was all this trauma and there was all this like insecurities, and even until the day she died, like a few like last year, you know, she's still like feeding these insecurities through her grown children. So it's like, you know, it's like, it's so ingrained, and it does wholeheartedly, like, fuck us up.
100%. And just, we have normalized a sick society. That's really what's happening. You know,
Right.
normalized, like even right now, what you can see with all these children that have like ADHD and like so many issues, it's not normal. Like the way we live, it's just not good for our health and our society. And I think it's so dangerous when, especially the older generation, you know, when they say, oh yeah, I've lived through the war. Yeah, and that was brutal, man. But isn't it nice now that we actually live in a society, even materially, that allows for us, for example, to do a lot of therapy, to get to know ourselves. We don't have to spend 10 hours a day washing clothes and
Right.
all that stuff.
We don't have to suffer to the capacity that most people are suffering. Like
100%. And I also think that the more healed you are, the more time you have this, you are lifting everyone around you up, right? So,
right.
Yeah, when people say this to me, I'm just like, oh, whatever. Like,
but it's true. That's literally our job, is just to like take care of ourselves and make our own life better, because that's like literally, I don't know any other way to affect any human being in my life other than just like taking care of me and just like being that. But yeah, our society's sick and it's in ruins, and I mean it has always been. I don't think this age of whatever age that we're in right now, which started in the goddamn knows what, like, you know, before ancient civilizations, whatever timeline we're in right now, it's never been healthy. It's always been ego, greed, and like dictatorship and like psychosis and absolute just like trauma dumping on everybody around you, and for a power hungry grab of who we can control, which like I'll never understand. But I mean, we do have all the tools. Like there is so much therapy. There's so many spiritual healers right now in so many different capacities. There's like, we're like, oh yeah, you know, we got yoga, we got breath work, we got relationship coaches. Like we have like every facet so readily available. So it's like, you know, we kind of got it. Like if we wanted to get it, we would get it. So I hope humanity gets it at some point. But for now, I'm just going to work on myself, because can't control other people.
yes, and of course, spiritually there's a lot of learning in these intense times. But my teacher, she said the other day, right now we're at this point where the stress and the pressure is so intense that most people just develop so slowly because the pressure is too much. You know, like a little bit of stress and sort of like negative experiences is good because it forces you to learn. But right now, most people are kind of like so stuck. And that's what is like everywhere. For example, in relationships, people are stuck. You know, they're always having the same kind of issues, the same kind of people walking into life. And this is one of my biggest things that I want to help them understand, the power of the subconscious and why you always have the same relationships. And I actually, you know, I love it when people say, okay, I want to be consciously single right now, really understand what's happening, and break the cycle before I even start dating again. Because, you know, I mean, I used to be like a love-starved person who was always going from toxic, or, you know, not always toxic, but just kind of like unhealthy or unfulfilling relationships to the next. And I could never break out of that cycle until I made sort of like this choice where I was like, oh, I can't go on like this anymore. And that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, that's so important. I had like a similar situation. Like I went, my friend could describe it the other day. She goes, it was like everyone you dated was like a little bit less horrible of the version of the last guy you dated. And she was like, and they all progressively got better a little bit each time. She was like, but they were all the same shitbag. And I was like, correct. For like years and years of my life. And then, you know, so I did the choosing to consciously be single as well. And then the best part about all that is I went through a lot of the patterns. I was like, this is why this is happening. And I do think I released a lot of them. But the kicker is I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then like the first relationship I got back in, like after that was like the exact same thing again. So I was like, wait. Okay. Something still isn't sticking. So, I mean, I would like to say I've worked on that, but we'll see. I mean, right now, everyone coming into my life is pure magic, and they may not be romantical, but I think we did whatever it was that I had to do, releasing all those unhealthy attachments, like desire, like this desire to be loved and understood. I think that was my biggest thing. I'm just like, I'm so weird and different, and I just want to be understood, and that like manifested in such like a toxic, like codependent, fucking weird relationships. I've been in like the weirdest. I mean, some were literally physically abusive, some were just like mentally ridiculous. Some like, and then but I had to realize like I was toxic too. Like I always blamed the other person for so many years. I was like, it's their fault because they suck, and it's like, no, girl, you're like literally toxic too. Go work on your things and stop blaming everything else. You know, like sure, maybe their actions were worse, but there's no worse or better. Like at the end of the day, I was bringing that in and allowing that on some level, like thinking I deserved that on some level, and then also like feeding into it. So it's like, I think that's what shifted for me when I realized like, oh, you're part of the problem. I was like, oh shit. Wow. I really am the problem too. I can't blame these guys anymore. I can't blame these guys. And obviously like on some level I got that because I was like, oh yeah, I'm just reliving like all these patterns, but I don't know, like I didn't get like the extent of it until after that last relationship I had, and I was like, ouch, that's ugly, you know?
Yeah.
Game changer. Yeah.
I wanted to say at this point that I love that you're so self-aware, and you know, it's a big thing to own, like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm contributing, especially because there's a lot of shame attached to us being like bad or us being sick or mean to the other person, right? And so I think, but it is so powerful. Once we do that, that's really where our empowerment comes. And I think you're awesome. And I loved even the way you say this. I mean, your energy is so clear about this. So
Thank you.
That will change. Yeah, this is I think you're on a really good path.
I think I'm in a good place. Now someone come love me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious. A husband, where are you? No, I would take one, you know. I think I decided this yesterday. I was like, I think the craziest thing I could ever do in my life right now is get in a healthy relationship. It's like the one thing I've never done. And I'm like, I think this would be fun. And I think like I realized that yesterday. Like I feel like I'm actually in the point where I would like to do that, because like everything else, I think I've done everything else. Not I've done everything else, but it's like I figured out like the weird financial lack mentality. Like that's over. I'm good. You know, I've traveled the world. I'll never stop traveling the world. It will never not be interesting to me. I've made my way into, like, I can go tomorrow and walk into like the mayor's office of some high society or like the underbelly of hell and fit into either or. So like that's fine. I can always do that. I'll always bounce around. So I'm like, that's great. I've already figured out so many things. Like there's so much of a journey. I'm like, but the craziest thing I could ever do is get in a healthy relationship. And I think we're here for that. And I think that's what I want on this next part of the journey. Everything else is like done at the moment, you know?
Wow. That's amazing. And you know, maybe that also shows that maybe, because I think there has to be a point when we say, I'm so done with the drama. Because we love drama, right? It's a bit exciting. I remember when I was a teenager and stuff, I was like feeding off the drama. And then I was just like, I want to write a book and I'm going to call it Date the Boring Guy. Because that's my whole It's like, find a person who is safe because they're actually not gonna evoke this crazy butterflies in you, because the butterflies usually are adrenaline, which comes from trauma, because you feel, oh my gosh, that person, I can actually not depend on them, and that's what makes you excited, right? Which is, a real issue. But I feel like for many people at some point there's this thing where they're like, oh, I'm just so done, I just want to be with my best friend, because, you know, they're awesome. And, you know, you can sprinkle in some attractions through like tantra and stuff, you can always add on, but you don't really, if we always go for if I'm the motorcycle with the leather jacket or whatever.
At least the energetic capacity of that guy, yeah. But they do, and I think I love that you said like that, the butterfly thing, because I feel like, you know, until you get to the point where you're over that, you really are like, oh my God, but if it's not like making me want to rip my heart out of my chest and die on the floor, then it's not love. Like, that is so toxic. And it's like everybody, like, that's just like this sick infatuation, and it's so completely toxic. And, you know, I have like attracted recently, like, some people, like, not that we were meant to like be together per se, but like that I felt like this like ridiculous, like, home comfortability, like, best friend, like, vibe with. And I'm just like, this is everything. And I feel like the universe is just kind of giving me little tastes of what that is. And I'm like, ew, yeah, exactly. Done with the drama. And like, more than that, I had to realize I was done with my own drama, because I've been single creating fucking chaos in my life for myself for years. And I'm like, girl, chaos, like, I woke up and I was like, I'm sick of my own shit. My chaos isn't entertaining. Like, I'm not enjoying my own fucking debauchery anymore. And, yeah, like, can we be normal? Like, not even normal, because we'll never be normal. And but I think, what was the quote I saw the other day? Like, find someone who is like your safe place and your biggest adventure at the same time. And I'm like, yeah, like, I want to feel safe and secured and held, but like, also, like, there's no limits to how great and exciting that could be in something that we would consider quote unquote boring. Like, what's boring about that? What's boring about having someone who like holds you like energetically to the capacity where you can literally just live your best life? Like, that's exciting. That's thrilling.
Yeah, 100%. And like where I'm at now with my husband is that I look at him and I think he's like a whole universe. You know, it's like this real respect for this like human being, and he's a super deep guy, right? So he's always like, he always has fascination. Like, he was into like Chinese herbs the last year, then he was into gardening. Now he wants to start his own business, so he really goes deep in business. And for me, it's just, this guy's fascinating, you know? And I think if we approach someone, and not because most people, the way they relate is really narcissistic, you know, because that's how they grown up. Like, most of us, we kind of like learn that unconsciously, you know, we look at people, how can they fulfill my needs? That's how we look at each other. And of course, there's a healthy way of, there's always a transaction, you know, like you and I have this conversation. We both want to grow, we want to get big audiences, but also I love, you know, you're a super interesting person, right? So there's a transaction, but even more than that, like, actually to love you means that I look at you and I look at your best interests, right? And I see you not just, Layla, how can she fulfill my needs, but also,
right,
what does Layla want? What does she need right now? How can we create a win-win situation? And in a long-term relationship, I think if you look at the other person really, first of all, as this fascinating being that you could never know in like a million years, you can't.
right.
You know?
Yeah,
Because there's always deeper layers. And when you do trauma work, you find all these deep things and the subconscious and whatnot. Yeah, and that's really the cool thing about this, when a healthy relationship does definitely not have to be, that does not have to be boring. And for example, we do a lot also with conscious sexuality and sensuality. I mean, you can also layer that, you can sprinkle it in. All this excitement doesn't have to come from this, just like, as you said, this like insane, you know, attraction, which often comes because the people are so unreliable that you just, you know, you want to get this fix. Oh my gosh,
it's literally like drugs. Like, it's drugs.
It is. It is.
Like, feed my serotonin and then rip me into pieces and leave me bleeding out for days. Like, literally, it's sick. It's fucked. But
it's this not seen addiction, because it's always the normal people, you know, that never have touched any drugs, they don't go drinking, but then they obsess over this guy not calling them, and they are weird. They drive by the bar where maybe that person could be, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely nuts.
You might as well be the fucking guy drinking at the bar, drinking a drink, because I feel like that's almost more healthy than fucking that shit.
Exactly. At least you're not obsessed over this one person that can bring you happiness or whatever. It's like,
and it never will, no matter what happens. If you're looking at it from that way, it's never going to fulfill you, because you are filling some hole, obviously, within yourself that doesn't feel like validated or like appreciated or respect. You don't respect yourself in that aspect, you know, and like, if you're looking for outside validation to validate yourself, like, no, it's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be beautiful. And like you said, it's like a mutual, like, giving and receiving, I think, and it's very important to, like, like, I love you. I like to go into everything like, I love everybody. Whoever this is, I'm going to give them, like, let them into my space, and, like, hopefully we can mutually benefit each other's space until we don't, as long as we do. And that's, like, how it should be, not, like, not that. But all I've really ever known is that before now. So just like, but everybody does. Most people do. And it's,
yeah.
yeah.
As a society, we really need to learn how to have, relationships together. And it's also a journey. Like, for example, if you meet someone now, and they are already a really safe person, but they have maybe some traits that are not so healthy, it's okay, because it's really rare to find someone that is actually at the relationship level where they are fully healthy. But I think when they are really open to seeing their own shadows, and you too, and then you communicate about this, and you really sort of like want to commit to really loving each other and really seeing each other, then I think you can slowly, step by step together, build a healthy relationship and a constant relationship, which I think you're absolutely at this point. You just gotta find a guy that would also, want
Hi,
that.
humans. Hello, loves. Layla is single and ready to mingle. I'm very picky though. I know exactly what I want, so I don't know. but I also I've also had to get out of my own head with what you just said too, like the healthy, because I'm like, but I still do I still have days where I the other day I went and got a Bloody Mary at 11 a.m. Sat at the bar for 4 hours shamelessly and then walked home for 4 hours, and I'm like, that's kind of toxic. So sometimes I feel it's but it's not that and then I judge myself because I'm like, all right, I'm attracting this nice guy. He's gonna be like, look at this fucking scallywag degenerate girl, but also I'm very self-aware and very awesome. So I've kind of had to get out of my own head about that. Yes, I am in a place where I'm very self-aware and willing to look at myself, but I still, do dumb shit, I still, but also I don't have, a community here, so it's I'm always just, wherever I am, if I need human interaction, sometimes it's not the best places, but, I always get my fill of whatever I need from humanity and go home, but I start to feel bad. I'm I'm not perfect. I'm not great. Look, I'm attracting, all these spiritual men, and, they're all healthy and shit, and, I had a Bloody Mary for breakfast, But I have to get out of my own head about that, whatever.
100%. And to me, I really like people like you because, you can get shadowy about everything. You can be, the spiritual guy, and then you're so judgy, and you're so rigid, you're in such a box, because I truly believe that it's really about owning all our parts. And at some point, sometimes it is healthy to have alcohol or, whatever, some drinks, if it's if that is about relaxing. And I think also that we are really here to make all the experiences. So I'm really about this non-duality, and really, I think that we come on Earth really to experience stuff,
I do too. Yeah.
So I think it's awesome what you're saying, and I would want to be friends with you. I think you're really fun.
I'm so much fun. My friends all tell me that. They're like, when we just want to have fun, we just call you. And then I'm like, wait, am I just the fun girl? They're like, no, because when we want to go deep and extricate our souls, we also call you. I'm like, okay, so I have it all. I'm like, all right, thank you for the validation. My friends will call me. So I have one friend, we call you over because, I have fun with you, but then you go and talk to my boyfriend about all the shadowy shit that I don't want to talk to him about, and you just, fill our cups when you come, and I'm like, thanks. So it is. It's all about the duality. But, yeah, and I definitely, like I said, I'm done with chaos, but I'll never not be, kind of a shadowy person. I'm never going to be one of those, healing beings who's all, light is all it is. I like your darkness. I like the weird thoughts. I don't per se want to partake in your chaos and your toxicity, but I do like the shadowy side of life. I write poetry and it's dark. I like the darker arts. I like the, not that I want to be in pain and suffering, but I'm more comfortable doing shadow work because I've had to do it for so many years, and I'm not afraid of those darkened trenches of life.
I feel 1,000 times more safe with you than with one of those light yoga guys, Yeah. Because to me, someone like that, very often they just suppress, and then all the real dark stuff is hidden and maybe comes out in super weird ways, right? Or they are mean and they don't even acknowledge it. They don't want to, they don't want to own it. So I think it's awesome. And have you ever heard of Carolyn Elliott?
No.
Check her out. You would love her. She's
writing her down.
Yeah. And she recently changed her name to Carolyn Lovewell. So maybe check out both names. And I'm part of that.
Oh, well, that's so cute. I like that. Okay. Keep
Yeah.
going.
So check that out really, because yeah.
And what does she do?
So she wrote a book called Existential Kink, which is kind of like shadow work, and it's all about how we sort of like get off on the chaos, you know, to overcome that stuff. But she's also like really into magic, and really into owning like the bad parts and the good parts, and really, you know, combining it and understanding that you are even much bigger, right? Because what we even judge as good and bad is very much a human thing. And I just think that she's one of the greatest thinkers right now. So yeah, I would really recommend.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm definitely that will inspire me, because I know, like, you know, I write and stuff, and, you know, I published some books of poetry I don't even really care about at this point, but, like, I know I'm supposed to be, like, speaking about all these things on, like, so many different, like, using all my creative avenues, and I'm like, I need more muses, I need to be more inspired, like, so she's gonna help inspire me with, like, that, because that's kind of my MO. I'm trying to figure out, like, where my place in, like, utilizing all my skills with that and knowledge, and, like, I'm trying to learn how to not walk into someone's hotel room at 4 a.m. every time and, like, fix their relationship and maybe, like, turn it into a business. Like, I'm like, yeah, you're welcome, but can I get paid next time? Like, what am I doing with that? Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting journey, though, for sure. But thank you for telling me you're more comfortable with me than the yoga guys, because I'm not comfortable with those, like, with people like that either, and I've always felt kind of bad about it, but I don't know. I think shadows are so important, and I think, you know, and then of course, like, you get to the point, like I said, you don't want the chaos, you don't want to be in the darkness, you don't want to live in the darkness, but it's like, shadows will always be there regardless, you know? It's like, it's not like you can just be light every second of every hour of every day, even when you've done the work. Like, shadows exist. Like, the moon comes up because the night is here every single fucking day. So it's like, darkness has its merit. Just like, there's like creepy, dark, like evil darkness, and then there's just like darkness, which is like fine.
Yes.
The lights go off. Like, it's normal. It's part of life. It's like, I feel like it needs to be normalized as more part of life, not just some like thing, which is like, you know, and then when you read anything about like divine feminine energy, like in goddesses, like will literally be so light, and then like so also like savages in the dark. Like, and that's like kind of what it is. Yeah. Duality. The duality.
Exactly. And it really feeds into each other. Like, if you look at any super wise person, any spiritual teacher, they all have gone through hell, because this is where you learn, you know, about so many things. So the darkness feeds into the light and the other way around. And so, yeah, to me, that's why I'm like really, really cautious of those people, because, you know, when we also can see all those scandals, you know, with the priests and little children and stuff, this is exactly that topic.
Exactly what I was saying.
When you suppress something, right? When you judge sexuality as something bad and dark and wrong, and then a person gets so, everything, they suppress their biology so much, and then they do something so horrific. So for me, it's like owning this and talking about it, and having also good fun with it, like not being such a rigid person, I think.
I know, it's all about fun. I can't deal with rigidity. I'm like, you're serious? You take life seriously? I don't. Just stop talking to me now, then, I guess. Or talk to me more, so you don't take life so seriously, because, yeah, but suppression it's just, and that's exactly what I was thinking about when you said it before. I was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about priests, like, literally molesting children, yeah. But it's like, but it is, like, suppression is so unhealthy, and that's why, like, so many organizations and religions are just like, I don't get it. Like, you can't tell people, like, desires are wrong. Like, we are fundamentally here as human beings to feed our desires, indulge in earthly pleasures, and, like, just not be a piece of shit. Like, truly. You can indulge in whatever you want. Just don't make it little kids, and, you know, like, have good intentions. But it's like, anything that, like, says suppression of, like, your desires, it's like you're not even attuned with yourself, because, like, our intuition leads us to our desires, and our desires are honed into our path, and, like, what we desire is usually what we're supposed to be going towards on our path to learn something else, or, you know, it's like, it's all part of, you know, it's all one and the same. So no suppression, never suppress. No good. No. Life advice by Layla: no suppression. Let it all out.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, so like when you do, like, how do you, like, you work with people with all this, obviously, like, I'm interested in more of how you work with people and what you teach them and how you fix relationships. How do you fix it all?
Yeah, so leading off of suppression, I think that's one of the biggest things. So if we want to talk a bit more about like the, the modern issues with men and women, because
yes, I do.
What I see is that like both genders have really been culturally conditioned to suppress a lot of their natural desires. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about men, I teach a lot about the nice guy syndrome, which is like this modern phenomenon where men basically get, taught from really young age on that their natural masculine traits like aggression and assertiveness, confidence, are they're being shamed for it, like so strongly, mostly from women that have been really hurt by men in the past. And so the little boys basically grow up feeling super ashamed of these urges. And they always get told don't be so rough, don't play rough, this is bad, you have to be really nice, listen better and all that stuff. And of course, the positive aspects of this is that we have really emotionally intelligent men, which is awesome, which you didn't used to be in the past so much. But on the downside, we have these nice guys now that are total people pleasers, that cannot say no, that won't stand up for their girlfriend, and that women are just not attracted to because of all of these things. And also they are very often together with women that are very, very masculine, and that are too strong in their masculinity, and then it ends up that the woman feels like she has to do everything. The guy just kind of like as either a total child and is just on the couch like playing video games while she runs, the household, or the whole,
household finances and all the others and the emotions. Yeah, because I've been in relationships like that a million times and it's gross.
Yes, 100%. Or he kind of like, he goes to work, he does his things, but she is just sort of like controlling everything, kind of like very hard controlling the kids, controlling him, and he like constantly holds back. And then in these relationships, what happens is that the women are completely depleted. They have usually a really low opinion of men, and the sexual chemistry is absolutely off. I mean,
it doesn't exist at that point. Like, there's no sexual attraction to that guy. That guy, no. Like, I don't want to sleep with that guy ever. That you just described, not that guy.
Me neither, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And for the men, unfortunately, they tend to have all kinds of addictions. Maybe even go to prostitutes or something. There's just a lot of issues because it's not natural for him, because he's basically he's suppressing his warrior self, the part of him that wants to go out and like be the boss, and own his woman and like all these things. Even when talk about, right, that's like sexy. So
it is. I'm like, yes.
100%. And just because a part of him is afraid that mommy is going to be angry at him. That's basically how this trauma is.
Yeah, boys are really traumatized by their mommies, like, truly.
Yes, 100%. So this is the one thing that I teach people about, and I sort of like stepped away from really coaching so much men because I find that it's, especially for a nice guy syndrome, it's really good if they go to a super masculine coach,
that makes sense, yeah, because that is the problem.
100%. And it was
feminines need to be more feminine and masculine, because we've had to unnaturally take on so many masculine roles as women in this lifetime, and like, I'm done. I don't want to be in my masculine energy.
For me, it's the same, right? And it's often, I don't know how it was with you, but maybe your dad was a bit like absent, or he wasn't so strong. He didn't make you feel protected. So
all of the above.
Exactly. So you basically say, oh my gosh, I need to become like the guy that is protecting me. Because I also read recently this thing that back in the days when you used to live in tribes, it was not just that like one guy was taking responsibility for us or protecting us. It was like 8 guys, in the tribe, all the surrounding families, the men would all collectively take responsibility and protect the women. I can't even imagine that feeling, how that would be. Sometimes I have it when I'm at home, because now I have a super feminine relationship with my dad and my brother and my husband. So when they are all three together, sometimes I'm like, wow, okay, if something would happen, they would all come and protect me. But imagine like 8 warrior guys, like whatever happens,
Yes.
it's like, I have a problem, and they're like, boom, boom, boom. What do you do?
Yes, come save me.
Imagine, right?
I just feel so held in that situation. I would feel so safe. But yeah, I mean, and that's like the natural, like, I think about that a lot lately, like, that's how it was, and like, honestly, it worked on some level, like, you go take care of the village women, and we take care of, like, we feed you, and we nurture you, and we love you, like, I truly don't want to have to, like, work so hard or do any of these earthly things, like, I don't think it's natural. Put me on a fucking chaise lounge and let me be a goddess, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it's so unnatural right now. And I think, yeah, protect it. Like, yeah, men have lost their, like you said, the warrior. Wow. And we've picked it up, and women have had to pick it up so much. And it's like, it's not natural. Like, I'm, like, when I was in that energy, like, all the time, I'm trying to get back. I'm just disassociating from it. And I'm like, whatever, I'm going to sit on my pretty ass and just be a goddess right now. And I'm not going to take on these roles. And even though I'm alone and I have to, kind of, I'm done. I'm just not going to do it. The universe will take care of me. But, yeah, like, when we're like hyper warrior, like, I was just exhausted all the time. Like, how am I supposed to be soft and emotional and like take care of everything and like hyper independent and doing all these things? It was very confusing. There was no alignment within myself. I was all out of whack all the time, and I was perpetually just like drained. And like, why is this happening? Because it's like unnatural. It's just unnatural.
100%, and that's really what's happening. But the good news is that because I used to, like, my husband had a lot of traits of the nice guy, and I had a lot of traits of this very controlling, hyper masculine woman. And the cool thing is we were really able to turn it around. And you as a woman, you can actually support men, because the nice thing is that if we are with a guy who actually wants to be a man, and most men want to, most men really don't enjoy this. They're kind of like us, they have been conditioned into this role, but you can actually support him, by stepping away from this hyper masculinity and doing like a few things. Like, I always talk about respect. Like, try to like respect the hell out of your guy, basically. And then you see that he kind of like remembers, what it means to be a man. And it's like a huge transformation. And the cool thing was, I even taught my mom these skills, and she applied it to like the relationship with my dad. They are together for, 30 years. And it's just so crazy right now, because I'm kind of like watching their relationship, and I think they've never ever been more harmonious. I mean, it's just like insane.
Yeah, like, it's so cool.
It's just crazy. I was like, should you do that? And I was like, I'll just try it. And I was at home, and for 3 weeks we visited. And usually I always kind of like cry sometimes, because, it's a triggering environment. And I work with a therapist, just on a monthly basis. And I was like, oh no, I think I need a session. She didn't have time, so I was a bit panicked. And then afterwards, I said to my husband, I didn't cry. Like the whole time. And he was like, yes. And the vibe in my house was so peaceful. And there was like, I think maybe one of the first times in my life, my parents were like a team. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to try
that. Is so healing for you too. Holy shit. If I could see like my fucking family be a team or any sort of healthy.
I was just like, what? My childhood dream was fulfilled.
That's amazing. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, so you're a champion of the world, and everyone should fucking work with you, because if stubborn ass parents can learn, and not just us young open-minded folks, like, God, she's got it. She got it.
Shout out. Yeah, I wanna make a course, a 4-week course, and I want like every woman on this earth to like take it. Because
I want to take it. I'll sign up. I'm in it. I'll be your first tester.
Yes, you can be my tester.
Yeah. You should. I feel like a lot of the people I talk to are like, yeah, I do like one-on-one and stuff, but a lot of the people I talk to are like kind of just working on doing some courses so that it's more accessible to the world, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yes.
I think that's
And I think also being in community, like my real dream is actually to have, I want to call it like the Cherished Women Club, where it's like you join part of a community and you have like weekly calls together, and it's all women that commit to never talking shit about men, never talking shit about women, to really be self-aware and to really support each other. Like imagine, because working with women, what I see a lot is that they sort of like start to be like, oh no, I think I do, like I bring some sort of like unhealthy things into relationships, but then you are a lot around women that are so hurt by men and that are constantly just trash talking men, and it's really difficult then to...
that's toxic. You can't I don't like that. I mean, I've dated some of the most fucking horrific people in my whole life, but I love men. Like, I have nothing bad to say about these creatures. They are wonderful. I love you boys. I love all of them. I'm way more men friends in my life too than women. I'm just like, it's easier. But I like what you're saying, like, because community is so important, and I really like that it's like a not talk shit community, because I mean, like, honestly, I get together with women sometimes, and I'm like, wow, you're just like really trashing, and I don't even like, and these are women that I don't even think that are intentionally like because they're like consciously trying to live like a high vibrational lifestyle and like have healthy relationships themselves. It's just like something about sometimes when women get together, it's very fucking gossipy, and it doesn't matter how high vibe you are, and it's like, and then sometimes I leave those conversations and I'm like, what the fuck did we just talk about? Like, what the fuck? And then it's like, this is why most of my friends are men, because like I'll go to a man's and it's like, we never talk shit about anything. We just go deep into the rabbit hole, or we do nothing, and I'm like, word, I like that, but so yeah, I like.
It's the shadow of the feminine. Yeah, that's so true. It's exactly that. But I think also it's really important for women to have community, because we need it so deeply and so importantly. And it's really nourishing,
I know I'm always searching for community, and I mean, that's why I've lived so much of the life I've lived, because I've like just like put myself into strange little pockets of communities like throughout all of existence. But I will say 99% of them were masculine dominated. I've never really like hung out in a community of women before. Like, even the communities I still like play around in right now, they're like, I'm around like 6-7 men. Like, where are the women? It's just like Layla and a horde of fucking men. It's like, here's a harem I have. I've collected them all. Like, but it's like, where are the women? Like, there's not, like, we need more communities, like, with women. And I mean, I've had, like, a few, like, yoga retreats and stuff, but, like, those don't happen all the time, and we need more women communities, I think, yeah.
Especially,
I need more community. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think you would be a great addition.
I'd love to be in the community. Take me into the community. Is it already started? Do you already have this going?
No, I want to start it, but I'll let you know. I'll send you an email saying, hey, Layla, you want to be the founding member?
I mean, yes. We need this. Like, I'm laughing, but I'm serious. I would love to be a founding member, because I don't, like, all my women that are, like, on a similar path feel the same. Like, we're, like, we don't have, like, we have our most of my women friends have, like, our 1 to 2, like, ride or die women, like, best friends for life, like, soul tribe family, but it's, like, they don't live close, and, like, we have no, like, and it's, like, one, we all have our 1 of 1. Like, if we all had our 1 of 1 together in the pot of all of us and our 1s of 1s, like, it'd be good, because there is, like, and I mean, especially just because, like, most of the women I talk to are in a very similar place in their life as me, looking for community and just, like, evolving beyond, doing a lot of the relationship work we're talking about, like, reclaiming the feminine, like, kind of stepping back. Like, most of the women in my life right now are stepping back from, like, this hyper independent, like, crazy role that they felt like they had to play for protection and all that. And it's like, and like, especially that when you come back to your softness after these years of having your fucking heart a little bit bricked off because you have to be everything. Like, we need community so bad right now.
Oh, but this is really nice for me to hear that, in your surroundings you see that women do that, because I think that's right now so necessary. And yeah, that was really my path. I used to be like so deep in this masculine energy, and as you said, it was so exhausting. And it's interesting, because I also have my own business, and that's definitely kind of like it's a dance. I feel like I'm sort of like figuring out how to do a business, but still be feminine, and how to, combine it all together and kind of like exist in the world. And I hope that this is really our generation, that they can figure it out, because, I don't want, of course, that we go back to the 1950s, but I think there's a way to harmoniously exist and just know that you will do business different than your partner. That's just how things are. But I also think that it's like this. I love when the masculine and the feminine harmonizes together, because it's just different qualities. I mean, there's nothing bad or nothing good about it.
No, I mean, we're different. Yeah, and I think it should be different qualities, and I think that's like where society as a whole is obviously dominated by like the shadow side and the dark side of all these things. But even beyond that, like when you take on too much of one, like if you're taking on too much masculine energy, you're not really ever, like you're not in a space to allow anyone to like actually come in with their masculine traits and actually like add value to your life in that way. So, I mean, I just think I hope we figure it out too. And I do see like a lot of us, cause I mean, this is part of the reason, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now. And I say that like with a laugh, but like truly, because I've had a lot of businesses in my life, and then, I kind of like ran away to Europe for a year to like reset whatever. And, I came back and I'm like, I'm ready to start something, but there is like so much, like, I don't know, because I want to do it so differently this time that I'm like, I don't know exactly where to go. And like, it's fine, because like, I'm just following the flow right now, and whatever I'm supposed to do, I'll do. But I am like, usually I jump in, like, I'm like, oh, I had an idea this 1 second. Right now, I've been like not doing anything for like way more than is physically uncomfortable, especially to like my hyper before masculine energy. But it's just because I don't want to live like that, and I don't want to like hop into another business where I like take on all these roles that I don't understand, like don't want to be in like before. So it is an interesting, like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Wow,
that's figure out,
What business did you have before?
Oh, clothing. I've had like 3 clothing companies. I've had an herbal company. I worked with soap creators, and I've a lot of like creative, crafty, selling clothes and sales.
Because this is what I struggle with, is like, doing the business and stuff. So I'm like really impressed.
I'm like, I haven't had one in like 4 years. I loved it.
But something new is emerging, huh? You were in
Yeah. I mean, I've had little like here and there. Actually, that's not true. I had a vintage company for a while. I think I might start that up again. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Fuck if I know. I wish I had the answers for that one. We'll figure it out.
Dropping the inspiration, It's just waiting, like.
Oh my god, I keep picking up little bits and pieces, and like old me would have just bit onto every single one and started 6 things already, and I'm like, no, I'm not ready.
I think it's amazing. And can I ask you just one question also, which I find interesting, because you're in the US, or you're American, right? So
yeah.
What is going on with that crazy gender ideology in America? Like, what is happening?
I have no fucking idea. I've had to tune it out so hard. This country is a total fucking catastrophe, if you ask me, and always has been. This is why I tried to move to Europe for a year. I was gonna never come back, but I don't know. Something called me to New York, and now I'm moving to New York. Like, next week I was actually supposed to not be. I was only supposed to be here for a month when I got back, but now I'm like, I like New York. But I don't know. I don't understand it. I can't philosophize it. I don't understand. Like, you talk to people, and they are so like, yeah. People are also, yeah, this is like, yes, this is it. Or like, no, this is fucking crazy. But like, I just feel like there's like, America is just like broke. Like, I don't know, it's just broken. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like, I almost feel like it's part of the agenda of the higher forces, because they know that if you are feminine in your feminine energy and masculine in your divine feminine energy, we're going to take over the fucking world. So maybe you just want to crush every stimulation and ideology of gender in general so that we can't fucking win even harder. And I really think that's what it's about, because, you can't stop a divine feminine in her power and you can't stop a divine masculine in his power. But if you fucking swindle it all into one pile and tell me I can be a cat dog or ISO or XV fucking whatever the fuck, ZXR, FTP, XYZ, like, well, then I'm gonna fucking succumb to your fucking evil agenda and die with the rest of them. So that actually is, I figured it out. Look, that was good.
You are so funny. Yeah, I agree with you, like 100%. And my spiritual teacher, she did like a video about transgender, you know, and about there is a small part of the population that it's like a spiritual path, right? That they are born in a body and actually they're connecting more with the opposite gender, and it's a deeply spiritual path. But it has been so confused, and you know, there's so much ideology, and I think a lot of, you know, money to be made. Like one person once said this to me: if you are basically a trans kid, will be like a medical patient for life.
Forever.
And that hit me so hard, and yeah, and that's really what concerns me. But and she changed her opinion, and she said, you know, like, don't confuse this spiritual experience of the transgender, which is like a small part of society, which now what's happening. And so, yeah, I totally understand you.
And I agree too, because I don't think it's all like, I'm not saying that sometimes you're not born in the wrong body, and I respect that, because I feel like that always has been, but like that's always been, right? And then all of a sudden, like, it just became so trendy and so acceptable. And not just like, not that it shouldn't be acceptable, but it became such like a trending thing that I think that every young person who's just confused in general now is like, maybe I'm not, you know what I mean? It's using it like, cause like, what's with like these 800 pronouns? Be like whatever but now there's like 800. So I feel like it's just like meant to confuse like people at the age who they don't like. Do you know how hard it is to be a fucking like teenager or anything anyway? Like, this life is so fucking confusing. People are spitting you such ferocious fucking control from all angles. Like, you don't know who you are. You don't know who you want to be. If you had told me when I was 7 I could have been a cat and got cat surgery, like, I would have been a cat. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a dramatic phrase of it, but it's just like, I do feel like, yeah, but sometimes it's spiritual and, like, you really are born in the wrong body, but then I also don't think, like, we should just be like, yeah, everyone go around and be confused, because we're all fucking confused. Like, every single one of us is confused on this planet. And, like, we don't need to, like, make people more fucking confused. And, like, let's add more categories of things that you can be, because you don't want to be in your own, like, I didn't want to be in my own skin until I wanted to be in my own skin. It took me almost fucking 30 years to want to be in my own skin, period. Like, as a person, or whatever. Multi-dimensional entity. So it's like
100%. And I don't trust any society that would, if I would have a trans kid, I would be like really go into super deep exploratory sessions and like how are you feeling, like what's going on, to really understand to the deepest part, like what's going on with them. And then if we go on this deep journey, and I have some really, you know, amazing like therapists and just kind of like people that really want the best for the kid and really want to, it's this understanding piece. I feel like that's always missing. And then if you really find that person is transgender, I'm like all for it.
Right. But yeah, you're right.
This society is so messed up. And then that you think after having like one conversation that's the truth. It's just so ridiculous to me.
No, I agree. It should take like a lot of psychological, because it's a huge fucking deal. Like you said, it's like the rest of your life, you're on hormones, you're on things, you have surgeries, like you are literally altering the physical, like, components of your body forever.
And did you know that they will never be able to feel pleasure? Like, it's not possible. Like, you cannot have like an orgasm when you had bottom surgery. And that to me was like, what?
What?
Like,
why would you want to live?
Yeah, but do you see what I mean? That's for me, it's, and imagine also at 5 years old, you don't know what an orgasm is, maybe some kids, but like most.
Yeah, like when you're 5, you don't know that you're not going to ever grow up and like have sexual pleasure. Like, that's something we should be informed about. Like that.
100%. And for me, I mean, if we're going to go really deep in the conspiracy, to me, because I know how also what you were saying, that the right masculine feminine is so powerful, and sexual energy is like the most powerful.
Life force.
Right? So if you cut it off, that's why I think also there's all this nice guy and controlling women, because they're very cut off from their sexuality. You create weak people. You create people that can't do nothing, that are dependent on you. So
And it's also, like, the agenda of population control because you can't just, like, slaughter people. Like, you can't go slaughter people anymore. Like, I mean, you know, we have, like, mass shootings and stuff, but you cannot just go, like, genocide. You know? I mean, they're doing it, and, well, like, Palestine, whatever, they're doing it, but, like, in America, per se, you can't just go genociding people.
Yeah.
Because, like, America won't stand for that. Like, we're not, I mean, in the Middle East and, you know, Palestine and fucking Iran, they can do that because, like, they never got over that. You cannot genocide people in America. It will not happen. So I feel like one of their ways to population control is just deplete your sexual urges and make people kind of, like, desexualized. And and, like, sterile.
Like, right? Because desexualized people, they will be big consumers. They will spend a lot of money. Because they will eat a lot of food, right?
Right, they're gonna eat a lot of food, they're gonna spend a lot of money, and guess what? They're not gonna make babies either. And all that misplaced sexual energy that they may not even know, like, why they feel this so empty inside, maybe because, like, your, like, sex is life force and your life force is fucking dead. And then, yeah, so I think that's exactly why America is, because you don't see this in other countries. It's only ours. It's like got all this going on right now. So it's like, I think it's just our way, to desexualize and, like, sterilize the population.
Yeah, and it's really sweeping over, like, especially also in Germany, we have a big culture of, actually my dad, he's like a teacher, and he's like a pretty conservative guy, and he had, like, I think a trans man in his class, and then he talked to me about it, and he became so, like, it was nice, you know, he was really wanting to inform himself, he wanted to really, because they had, like, some conflicts, and he was like, oh no, I don't understand that, so he went on the journey, but then I also had to tell him, like, Dad, you know, like, think also about this other subjects, you know, and stuff, so I was like, whoa, it's pretty also, it's coming to Germany, and
okay, that's surprising. See, I don't know, I feel like it's so here, but that's interesting, because, like, Germany's the last place I would feel like really has a bunch of trans people right here. I mean, I lived in France and, like, Italy for, like, a year and a half. I didn't see any of that, but, you know.
It's good, I think. It's just seeping slowly. And the Germans, they are always, you know, since the Second World War, they have so much guilt. So whenever there's any topics around which are kind of like about, like, human rights or something, or social topics, they are like suckers. Like, you know, they never want to appear that they are, like, anti, you know, human.
Yeah, no, you can't be anti anything anymore.
No.
Hitler fucking destroyed that for you. You have to be like, Germans have to be like hyper, we're all for everything. We are not fucking assholes.
And if I disagree with you, then I'm a Nazi.
It's so true, though. That sucks for, like, all German people, truly. Like, Hitler really fucked it up for you guys.
Like, shit.
I was born on his birthday, so, you know. That's fucked in its own right. I have to temper my fucking dictatorship in sometimes. Really. I swear, like, sometimes when I'm on, like, an ego trip, I'm like, bitch, you could be a world dominator dictator. Can you please reel that ego in? It's a little scary. I'm like...
I would want to live in such a, you know, maybe, I don't know, it would be fun, I think.
Oh my god, I have to live in such a fine balance of humility and, like, and ego, because, like, I need my ego a little bit, we all do, but, like, mine is a scary fucking monster, but then, like, if I'm too humble, like, without any of it, like, I'm just, like, a scared little kitten, so, like, you know. I live my life in a delicate balance. Like,
maybe be Catwoman, you know?
Like, I am a Catwoman. Like, I mean, I'm always in my cat ears and whatever. I always got my cat nails. Like, you know, for Halloween, I went to a couple shows and I was a cat. And they were like, that's correct, but you're a cat every day. And I was like, yeah, that's also correct. So it was just, like, I put ears on and, like, just expressed who I am.
It definitely fits. I think cat is your spirit animal. Like, I can see it. Yeah.
I know. I feel like sometimes I look in my face and I'm like, you even have the face of the cat. Like, every once in a while I'm like, your face looks like a cat, you freak. Oof, that was good. Well, we've been at this for about an hour. You want to add anything, or any other rabbit holes we should go down?
No, I never thought we would go down this road, but I really love it. Like,
I do too.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, for a while I was like thinking, actually recently I thought to myself, I wanna own more all my spiritual beliefs, because I'm a deeply like spiritual person. I have a really, you know, like a worldview that is definitely like we are like souls of we are part of the bigger consciousness, and we are here to expand. And that's my belief since many years. And I'm not being too much open about it on the internet. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about it.
We have to be open about it, but you're welcome. Because I think it's really important, because me too, like, been very, I mean, I would like to say set in my beliefs, but they're not, because I literally am at such a rapid rate of evolution within my own thought process that I don't know how I'm going to feel like tomorrow. But as a whole, like, yeah, we're all one. We've all been here before, and we're all connected. That's, like, the fundamentals of it. But I agree, like, a lot of us haven't been talking, so I feel like that's part of the reason I got this podcast, so we can all just kind of share that and blast it out to the world, because I haven't been doing my part speaking about it, but you're doing a lot of other work, so like that's good. But we need to be open about it, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
100%. And just maybe lastly, you know, the thing is that I think a part of also this really unhealthy modern society is this hyper materialism, you know, when you're like, what do you think? Oh my gosh, you believe in something? Oh my god, you're so ridiculous. But when you go deep, it's an insecurity about life like nothing else. Like, I think actually that person who's like the mega Christian, they at least, you know, they are having trust, they're having faith. And when it comes down to it, like they believe that there is something bigger. They often have good values, you know. Maybe they're still, I would say, a little bit unconscious, right? Or rigid. But the person that is super materialism, I don't trust them, and I don't think they're loyal. And I think deep down that they are really, really scared, and I don't think if they would show up for me or for the world, right? So I think it's actually a real sign of strength. And that is also one of the reasons why I really want to own this. And of course there will be some people who are like, oh my gosh, you're so stupid. How could you ever think that? Like,
yeah. But there will always be someone who feels like that. But I agree, like, a faithless person is the scariest person in the world. And I'm not like here, like I'm not like religious in any way. I'm just really spiritual. But I do, and I don't like think, you know, I mean, there is like the hyper Christians, but I do like really, there is a level of respect of like having that much assurity, that much faith, and like that much confidence in something beyond yourself, because yeah, that's like a way more trustworthy people. And I've recently met some very religious people on the street of like New York recently, and they were like, you know, they did tell me like I was gonna go to hell if I didn't accept Jesus, and that's when I was like, can we explain this? And that lost me a little bit, but at the end of the day, they were also like the nicest fucking people, and they like bought me dinner and breakfast, and they were like, if you need anything, do you need gas money? They were just like the nicest fucking people who just wanted to like give you everything and like nurture you and like take care of you, because like they take care of themselves. So it's like, so there is that. And like, yeah, a materialistic person is fucking scary. Yes. You don't trust that person, because if you don't have morals and you don't believe in something, like, you have no values. You are reckless. Like,
and I think also you have not gone really on this path, because I see it like there's one woman, I don't know if you know her, Kelly Brogan. I really love her. She's an amazing thinker, and she now also, because she was like a materialist or I guess what is it when you don't believe in God, like that thing. And for many years. And now she's on this deep journey, and she starts to find some kind of like spirituality. So I think if you just go deeper and deeper and deeper, if you don't arrive at this point, I think you haven't gone deep enough. So I think you're actually not mature. That's like my.
I agree. It's like you're like, I don't know, a lot of like, yeah, the insecurities and the escapism, because like going deep, like we talked about, it ain't always pretty. Like, it's not beautiful every day. Like, I've had to look at some of the ugliest fucking pieces of myself and like own them. And I did not want to, and I still don't want to. Like, there's little pieces that come up every once in a while still, and I'm like, ooh, that's not beautiful. But it's like, you know, that's how you grow. That's how you be a better person, and that's how we fucking fix the world. So stop not doing that, people.
Know your feelings. It's hard.
It's so nice when it's like, and the shadow work is because like I was abused, and it's like, bitch, you abused yourself, you know, like it's ugly, you know, it's not beautiful, but like, how else do we fix the world, and how else do we help people, and how else do we ever shift this reality into a higher consciousness? There's no other way. No. Yeah, so if we want to work with you, we can just find you, right? How do we work with you? Tell the audience. Yeah. How do we hire you for a relationship coach?
So you just go to veronika-amaya.com. That's the best place to find me. From there, you can find my YouTube channel. I also have a TikTok and I recently started an Instagram. So follow me. You're going to be my follower number 60.
Yeah, no, her Instagram is fucking great. I like literally every time I see it pop up, I'm like, yes, girl, keep going. I'm like, go off. It's so good. I'm like, this is everything I think in my mind right now. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can learn more about my stuff. And there's all my coaching offers and everything I do. So yeah, oh man, it was awesome chatting with you. I had a really a good time.
It was great to talk to you too. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see like your workshop and build like. Hey, if you really want a leader, a co-leader of the women's community, I'm so down to talk more about you with that and like set something up and build the women community. Let's do it. We need it. Wow. I got ladies that will come on board. I got a couple.
Nice. Let's definitely stay in touch a bit because I'm really super serious about this. But just lastly to everybody, I want to say I also have a free ebook that you can download, which is called The Secret Guide to Satisfying Relationships, where I explain in detail about the feminine and the masculine energy and also the most important relationship needs of men and women. So check that out. I'm sure they like them so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you all for listening to The Layla Show. Bisous, Joe.
The Layla Show.